Ever since he made his comic book debut back in March of 1963, Tony Stark has been constantly updating and improving his Iron Man suits. The awesome and iconic exoskeleton has gone through countless changes over the years, usually reflecting the time period it finds itself in, or the current trends going on at the time, in the comics as well as outside of them. Today, I wanted to look at 5 of my personal favorites, the ones I have enjoyed the most throughout the many decades of Iron Man stories. If I miss any you would have included on this list, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below, but realize we all have different opinions. Some suits I like, they might be ones you don't, and vice versa. Starting off the list at number 5, I'm going with the Model 13 Modular Armour that debuted in Iron Man number 300 from January of 1994. This armor was a complete revamp of the original design. Instead of being one singular unit, it was comprised of various pieces, subsystems that could be interchanged and switched out on a whim. Each piece, the gloves, helmet, boots, all had their own unique capabilities, and even plug-in points which allowed for additional add-ons to be implemented. Some of these add-ons included various weapon attachments, microsurgery equipment that allowed Tony Stark to shrink down in size and plant a biochip within Captain America's body, and of course, the Hulkbuster Armour, which we will get to in a second. The modular armor defined the 1990s for Iron Man, being the one closely associated with this character throughout the decade. It was also the suit featured in the animated series that was airing at the time, which probably added to its popularity and appeal. Next up at number 4 is the Hulkbuster Armour, which has become one of Iron Man's most popular and recognizable armor variants at this point, thanks in part to the MCU. The Hulkbuster is Tony Stark's big gun that he brings out only when he needs to, usually to do battle with some sort of large threat, one that he can't handle in his smaller armors alone. The Hulkbuster is armed with stronger weaponry and enhances Iron Man's strength by 175 tons. Originally, it was simply an add-on for the modular armor, but has since become defined as its own suit model. There have been several redesigns and variations to the Hulkbuster armor over the years, but they all serve the same purpose essentially. I'm also going to group the Thorbuster armor into my number 4 slot as well, because much like the Hulkbuster, Tony Stark had to create it to take on another one of his powerful Avengers allies. It was infused with the power of an Asgardian crystal, and modeled after the design of the iconic Destroyer armor from Thor stories. Moving on to number 3 with the Model 37 armor, also known as the Bleeding Edge. This one featured nanotech which was inside of Tony Stark's body that could be activated with his mind, at which point the armor would instantly cover him, enhancing his strength, speed, and having the ability to not only heal itself, but create weapons as well. The Bleeding Edge armor is a popular model among Marvel fans. The idea of having Tony equipped with his suit at all times, able to manifest it at any given moment, is really cool. It had so many applications, and essentially eliminated the time it took Tony to become Iron Man, made it instantaneous, far more efficient than it had ever been before. Okay, so I don't know what it is about the black and gold Model 42 Iron Man armor that has so much appeal to me, but it does. It's basically just the regular Iron Man armor with a different color scheme, but I think it works so well. It fits the Iron Man character. It also has its own version of the Hulkbuster armor as well. And yeah, that's about it. I just like this one a lot. It's my number 2 pick. Before we get to my all-time favorite, let's quickly look at a few honorable mentions I would like to bring up. The first is of course the Mark I armor, the one that started it all, being Iron Man's first design when he debuted in 1963. I also enjoy the look of the Model 14 Arctic armor, with its blue, white, and gray color scheme. The all-black stealth armor was designed to conceal itself rather than fight. It was weaker than a lot of other Iron Man armors, but had the ability to interfere with sonar and radar signals, and change its color for camouflage purposes. The Model 8 Armour, codenamed Silver Centurion, is another one of my favorites. It debuted in the 1980s and was used by Tony against Obadiah Stane, and during the first Armour Wars, or Stark Wars, whatever you want to call it. And finally, I'm going to place the War Machine armor in my honorable mentions section. While it's an awesomely designed Iron Man suit, at this point, I don't really consider it to be an extension of Iron Man really. It's more closely associated with James Rhodes than it is Tony Stark. War Machine has become its own character now, its own identity. It's not just another Iron Man. For my number 1 spot, I have to go with the classic Model 3 armor, the one that introduced the iconic red and yellow color scheme to the Iron Man character, and it's the one I always think of when I think Iron Man. Its design is awesome, a little retro, maybe even a little goofy to today's standards, with the Speedo-like section and everything, but awesome nonetheless. I think the Model 3 armor is the best incarnation of Iron Man we have ever had. It will always be iconic to me. It will always be special. It's always going to be the best. But I'd like to hear your opinions. What Iron Man armor is your favorite? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I want to thank everybody for watching the video, and I hope you found it entertaining in some way. If you'd like to support the channel and its content, be sure to subscribe and become a patron over on patreon.com if you can. I will see you all in the next one. Take care and long live your inner nerd.